work in a community that's located between Selma and Montgomery. And there, as we talk about dealing with environmental issues, people there still don't have the basic right to sanitation. When they flush their toilets, it's either going out on the ground or it's coming back into their homes. And we need to address that in this country. We partnered with Baylor's National School of Tropical Medicine and did a study that revealed that we found evidence of hookworm and other tropical parasites here in the United States of America. And I believe that that's an atrocity at this particular day and time, and especially when there's discussion around ending the efforts of the EPA and other kinds of efforts around climate. And here we have the perfect marriage of environmental justice and climate change, where we're starting to see tropical illnesses that normally are not seen in the United States, but because the climate is in fact changing, people are being exposed to that, and they're going to move further north. But these are infrastructure issues that we need to address in rural communities that have never been addressed.
And Catherine, how unusual is it to see a widespread case of hookworm in these communities in this day and time?
It's very unusual. Actually, if you look at the literature, you know, the Rockefeller Sanitary Commission takes credit for eliminating this in the first part of the last century. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about 2017, and we see evidence of it. So much so that it has garnered international attention that here in the United States of America, where we have one of the richest and most robust economies in the world, there are a lot of people that have been left out. So as we talk about how we build sustainability, we need to first of all look at those communities that we've left out and have never addressed these issues in the first place. Because I want to bring solar power to my community, but I also want to make sure that they're not on homes that are energy inefficient, mobile homes that people living in don't even gain value.
Speaking of the waste, Dune, how much of our garbage winds up in the ocean? How much plastic is out there, and what can we do to sort of start mitigating that?
Well, at the risk of being the bad news panel here today, and thank you for having me on the panel this morning. It's really a pleasure to be here with all of you. Every year we produce 300 million metric tons of new plastic. Only 10% of that is recycled. About 78% of that becomes waste. A lot of that actually ends up into the ocean, either through rivers and lakes as part of oceanic, or directly into the ocean itself. So we know that annually between 8 and 12 million metric tons of plastic is making its way into the ocean. Once it's in the ocean, it's nearly impossible to extract it. A lot of plastic is breaking down into what's called microplastics. Straws, cups, lids, plastic bags. There's a lot of low-value plastics, they're called, that don't have an end-of-life market presently available to them to be able to be purchased. But they break up into microplastics, and they become really attractive to fish. They are ingested by, the estimate right now is 100% of all 7 species of turtles ingest plastic. Many of them become entangled by plastic as well. So it's pervasive.
Right. I recently wrote a story about plastics, and of the 9 billion tons of plastics produced in the world since the invention of plastics around 1950, 7 billion tons still exist. And so we've only gotten rid of 2 billion tons of plastic. The stuff stays around forever. There is a campaign to do little things like eliminate straws and stuff like that because a straw got stuck in a turtle's nose. Can you tell us a little more about the danger that these plastics pose to these animals and what's happening out there with them?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So the estimate right now is when an animal ingests plastic, it has a 50% mortality rate. Straws, bags, I think everybody's seen the video of the turtle with the straw in its nose. It's heartbreaking. We recently received a photo of a fish from Indonesia that had a straw in its belly and a chip bag and a biodegradable plastic spoon. Plastic bags are showing up in the bellies of whales. These animals can't recover, and it's our waste that's causing it. I think also important, and I love what Governor Schwarzenegger recently said from COP23 when he said we have to start talking about these environmental issues in a different way. We have to think about it in terms of our human health. And that's where we get back to the environmental justice conversation, is plastic pollution impacts us as a species. 94% of our drinking water in the United States is polluted with plastic. That should scare us that we're drinking plastic. We know plastic fibers are showing up in the flesh of fish. When the vast majority of the world's population relies on marine-based protein as their primary source of protein, that's injustice. So it is harmful to animals. I think we're only now beginning to see what the potential impact is to us as species. And as a mother of a 3-year-old, I no longer serve my child fish sticks.